What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel and back out to the garage to start this one off. We've got to do a bumper repair, or replacement I should say, and a couple quick little upgrades on my Mt12 Lux. Now if y'all hadn't seen the unboxing and little test run video on this, I'll leave a link up above for it. This is the new Mt12 version of their Mt12 from Associated. Basically they put a bigger motor in it and changed a few different things around. Pretty much the same as the van and the other regular truck body one, but again this one does have a bigger motor and a few other little changes. And one of those changes being that we've got a different body style here is the bumper style. Actually the front bumper and the rear's got a wheelie bar on it, but the front bumper in particular is what we're looking at here. Now if y'all did see that video where I unboxed and did a test run, you'll know that I ran into the front of one of my ramps out there and snapped this front bumper basically instantly. It's just very, very thin, a really tiny thin little mount that this thing mounts to. You can see there's a square mount in the front, and then it's only attached on 3 areas right here, and tiny little thin amounts of plastic. And then in here again you've got those 2 mounts, square mounts that go into the bumper here, and it's on an angle, so it's like it's just designed. I mean, the way it's designed, it's destined to break with any kind of little hit right there. It's almost like a crumple zone on a new car. So I immediately started looking for a replacement, what I needed to do or whatever, and what I needed to order until I could get with warranty and see if they could send me a new one. Well, come to find out, they actually changed the entire design of this bumper mount and everything from the time it was just released until now even, and it's only been out just a little while here, this Plus version. But apparently this was maybe like a first design and they realized that this was no good right here for sure. So now they've got a totally different design that's actually shared with one of their other vehicles, the Enduro 12. So I kind of jumped ahead on you and gave you the spoiler of what bumper you actually need. Before I knew that, I went ahead and I knew it was a new design, so I thought, well, let me go on and look. And sure enough, A-Main had just added this as a new item, the bumper set for the Mt12 Lux, this specific new version. So I went ahead and ordered it because it looked like the new design, and it does. It looks like a new design. It's got the hoop, it's got the little fake plastic winch set there. You can see the winch, but this is the new design of the bumper that you actually see now in the promo picture, but it's still got this old design in the literature for the instruction manual, and the part number leads to this, or the part number for this leads to this part right here, which is totally incorrect. So this is kind of a PSA for anybody who has this Lux. I'll show you what you actually need if you got this bumper style and need a new bumper. This right here is not it. You do not want this 41159. Even though it says Mt12 Lux and new item, you do not want this. So after that got delivered and I realized there was absolutely no way to mount that to what I've got here, I got on the phone with Associated and talked to a fella by the name of Aldo. He was incredibly helpful. He actually kind of knew what I was talking about. He said, I've seen this before with one of my own, and he said it's probably gotten mixed up. And sure enough, what's happened is it shares it with the Enduro 12. Here's the correct part, long story short. 41141. This is for the Enduro 12, which is a different vehicle, but it seems like a lot of their vehicles, now that I've got looking, share a lot of small parts like bumpers and certain little mounts and certain plastic pieces. So this is the bumper that you need, the one for the Enduro 12. So long story short, again, he figured that out in just a couple minutes on hold, came back, told me what the deal was. They had just mistakenly packaged this 10th scale for this whatever other car this is for, instead of this 12th scale with the Enduro 12. So he said this is the one you want. Now I've noticed this does have extra pieces like all of the plastic kits do these days. If you want one little piece, it comes with a lot of other stuff. This other stuff is going to be useless for this Mt12 Lux. It's got a rear roll cage for this Enduro 12 Ecto body specifically. So I also noticed that the Enduro 12 has a lot of different kits, body kits, and some of the other ones also come with bumpers. So you may find one that has some little accessories that you also could use, and this is a perfect example. This also has some little plastic side mirrors for that Ecto body that I might be able to use on this Lux. But as far as taking this bumper off, if it wasn't already broken off, there's just two 2mm screws right here on the top. And there you can see, if you didn't get a good view earlier, the way it's angled like that to go up in that channel there, it's just destined to break because again, only 3 sides are even attached. It's just completely hollow all the way through there. All right. right, let me show you what we got going on here with this bumper kit. So obviously it comes with the bumper with the square pegs that you need because you got square bumper mounts right here. So you could just put this thing right here, the holes line up, you can put it right in there and you don't have to fool with this little winch. But the problem with that is you can see you got quite a gap there. I mean, some people may not care, and I really don't know if I care actually, but I'll show you this little winch anyway. The winch just sits behind it. Obviously it's a fake winch and it's got several parts, but the problem is you need a couple more screws. Well, actually you could use a 4 more screws besides what they give you. Now really quick, before I show you how to assemble this winch, all this other stuff up here, all these other round parts, all these other little spacer pieces, that's completely nothing to do with this right here. That's all to do with that ecto type body that goes with that Enduro 12. Now these little round side mirrors, I might actually put those on this body, on this Lux body, because that would be in scale and would fit the look with those round side mirrors. And then also these pieces here are that rear roll bar. A lot of those other little small pieces that I mentioned are for this also. But if you do want to use this winch on the bumper, you're going to need the little winch housing there. You're going to need the spool and the little pin that goes through the spool there. And then that just sits right here in the bumper. It's got a place for both of those little ends to sit flat right in there. Hope you can see that pretty good. And then you've got these little cover pieces that hold it in there. You can see you've got a place for a recessed screw there and then a screw hole. And then these just slide in here. And then that's it for the winch. It's completely together so the spool won't come out. Again, you're going to need 2 screws here though. And that's the problem. They didn't send you any extra screws because obviously they're assuming that you're going to be replacing an Enduro 12 and you're already going to have these screws. So maybe and hopefully they'll come out with a bumper body kit, whatever you want to call it, just for this Mt12 Lux Plus, so you'll have the screws included. Because what I'm having to do here, because you're actually going to need 4 extra ones, you're going to need those 2 there, and then you can see there on the bottom, that's how this little winch hooks to the back of your bumper. It just sets up on there, and then you mount it with those 2 screws right there. So you'll need 2 screws for that also. Now you can use the ones, if you did have this bumper, I took the other end of those mounts off the old bumper, you can use those 2 there, but then you'll have to just find your 2 other ones. I don't even have any flat head for recess like that, so I'm just going to use these 2 instead. All right, I got the winch mounted to the bumper there. Again, it's just the 2 screws to hold those covers on, and then the 2 screws to actually hold the winch on. And don't be like me, make sure you don't use screws that are too long and just about poke out the front of your bumper. And then once again, to mount this bumper, it's simply a matter of inserting the square peg into the square holes and putting your 2 screws in the top there. And there we go, back in business, y'all. Mounted up, definitely takes up the space with that little fake winch. Again, I guess it's really not that big of a deal. I don't know how I feel about the old fake winch on there anyway. I'll probably just leave it for now, but if this happens to break off again, which I will say, I mean, you're talking about a huge difference as far as the amount of plastic and stuff that would have to snap right there. That's a solid, well, I say solid, it's got the mounting holes, but you know what I mean. That's pretty much a solid square of plastic just going through that channel and not mounted to that bumper where that other piece, y'all saw how it was. So again, if anybody out there that has this new Mt12 Plus, this is the body kit you're going to need to get that bumper. It's for the Enduro 12. This is for the Ecto body. I think if you look up the Enduro 12 and go under the parts, it's also got another body that you can also use, but it doesn't have a couple of the other parts, and it does have parts, and they're both the same cost anyway, so it's best just to grab this one. So I'm going to end this one off right here so it don't get too long in case somebody actually needs this information. I feel like this is useful info if you've got one of these and needing a bumper. On the next video, I'm going to install some of these really super nice looking aluminum upgrades, and then we'll get out there and have some fun with this thing and test it out. So once again, I appreciate the heck out of all the support. If y'all do enjoy these videos, make sure you reach down and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications so you do get notified when I upload new stuff. I will leave a link below for this bumper kit. It's not an affiliate link, so I don't get anything from it, but again, I feel like this is probably some useful info. So be on the lookout for the next video with this thing. I'll probably take it on out to that skate park and run it a little bit after we get the upgrades on it. Lots more really good stuff on the way, including 2 brand new RCs to the market, so y'all stay on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, keep on having fun.